welcome along to what we've all been waiting for here at West Wales Karting Virtual Racing. It is the Tri Championships we're calling it. That's it, yeah. And this is the lineup, and we're using the classic vintage touring car Bs in the ProjectCars2 car list. And there's a choice of drivers to choose from between the Porsche, which is a DLC pack, so only a few of them have access to it, a Ferrari 330 P4, and of course the Ford GT40 Mark IV. Both of the Ferrari and the Ford the 1967 cars that raced at Le Mans. The Porsche is a little bit more modern, and they all have different handling characteristics as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on here today. And of course we're at round 1 today at Spa-Francorchamps circuit, the classic layout. As we can see, there's how many Porsches have we got there? 4 or 5 Porsches, 4 or 5 Fords, and just a single Ferrari there by Scuderia Sam. So we see how they get on. And this circuit is an absolutely monstrous circuit we're using. It's you think the modern Spa-Francorchamps circuit is amazing? Well, check this one out as we ride on board now for a comparison. As they head up the hill here through the Eau Rouge corner, we've got a 3-way split going on, so we can compare the laps to it.
Yeah, very interesting there. You can see as they've already gone up the hill, they're now going along what is nowadays it's the Kemmel Straight. And the Porsche is, as you see, just slightly ahead there, but as they go into Lecombe, it's going to really stretch its legs now in the corners, carrying much more downforce. As you see there, he's already at the apex of the corner as the Ford and the Ferrari just turning in. And the Ferrari slightly as well.
Yeah, and the acceleration out of that corner from the Porsche.
Yeah, it's just something else, yeah. It's
mind-boggling.
You can see the lap time's quite close there, but some of the drivers were saying unless the Porsche is maybe 3 or 4 seconds up the road before the as we go through Burnhamville now, going down to Malmedy. Yeah, this is where as they come down through the next left-hander, this is where the Porsche really gains time on the 2 cars behind.
Yeah, you can see the Porsche is just one sweeping movement on the steering wheel, and you can see on the Ferrari and the Ford there, they're sort of wrestling the car into the corner. They're trying basically not to crash through that corner and try and get on the power as early as possible, because now you've got this massive long straight that leads up to the Master Kink. The Master Straight, this is infamous straight and infamous corner coming up. As you see on board with the Porsche now, he's going to approach the Master Kink very quickly. It's a left-right corner, but all the way along the straight, the Ford and the Ferrari are catching, and this is where they make up the time.
Yeah, so the Porsche there, almost flat out going through the Master Kink there, and look at the way the Ferrari's having to really fight to hold on there. But this is where the Ford really begins to pull time back. It could be hitting 205 miles an hour by the end of the straight as they get down into Hollowell here that leads into Stavelot.
Yeah, and they, of course, 205 for the Ford, about 195 for the Ferrari, and about 180 for the Porsche is the top speed difference into that corner. You see the Porsche is almost flat through there, and the Ford and Ferrari are just wrestling, trying not to run too wide, because if you run wide in that corner and the camber dips on the outside, you've had it, you're in the wall.
That's it, yeah. Look at the landmarks on the top 2 videos there. You can see the Ferrari and the Ford are actually very, very close at the moment. Whereas the Porsche is already around this left-hander and up the hill. So here's the house coming up, around the right-hander for the Porsche. And the Ford and Ferrari really starting to haul it back in now. So this is where we were saying the Porsche needs a few seconds gap at the bottom of the hill before this section of the circuit to be able to hold on.
Yeah, now we've got this uphill section, and this is where the Porsche will struggle into the likes of the other two, especially the Ford, with all the horsepower that it's got. It's got 500 horsepower compared to 450 in the Ferrari and 350 in the Porsche, so you can see how it claws it back up. Look at that house they just passed there. And now this one, look, there's the Porsche and the Ford very even, the Ferrari a little bit behind at this stage.
Yeah, so now this is where the Porsche is really going to gain it back as they come into, this is now Blanchimont, where the current Grand Prix circuit, so this will be the bus stop chicane about here. And they come round the corner now up to La Source. This is where the Ford loses probably a good second or so, I would say, as it comes into La Source. It's rubbish on the brakes compared to the Porsche and the Ferrari.
Yeah, the Ford and Ferrari were very close together before La Source here, as the Porsche's already round it. But look how close it is between the top 2. And I think the Ferrari just manages to get on the power a little bit sooner because it was able to, it's a bit better on the brakes, isn't it? So you can get the car pointed in quicker.
Yeah, that's it. And it's the starting grid now for the race.
Yeah, so after a very, very wet and foggy qualifying session, Alex CDL put it on pole from Scuderia Sam second, and then we've got a couple of Porsches in D-Man and Baz the Ninja third and fourth. Great qualifying there from both of them. Unfixed Drone as well up in fifth there in the first GT40, ahead of the fellow GT40 of Welsh Taff. And then we've got Chris Doherty and Big Bad Wolf in the two Porsches, seventh and eighth. And Stuart Davis didn't even do a lap in qualifying. As we're on the grid now, waiting for the start, and let's go here at Spa-Francorchamps. And it's a great start from all the Porsches, and it's the Ferrari there to try and fend them all off as they go into turn one, which is Eau Rouge, of course. And there's a Porsche on the outside. There was contact between Welsh Taff and a Porsche as well. Couldn't quite see which one it was, and further contact going on there between a couple of... Oh, there's massive contacts. Stuart, what's going on here?
Oh, absolute carnage there. I think Welsh Taff got into the side of Baz the Ninja. They were going up the hill on Fixed Road, and Liam got into each other, and again.
Oh, he goes absolutely rolling. Head over.
Big Bad Wolf that was there recovering.
Yeah.
And Alex up the inside of Scuderia Sam into Les Combes. Is he going to hold on the outside there? That's going to be a close one.
D-Man, that is. D-Man.
Oh, D-Man, yeah. Sorry. All Porsches look the same.
They do, don't they? And it's not racism to Porsches, it's true. And Ferrari, the Scuderia Sam there, managed to just hang on from D-Man there, because D-Man ran into the wall a little bit, and that's going to put him under pressure now from Liam in the black GT40, who's closing in on him at the back there. Welsh Taff, look, he's in fifth now as well, so not a bad start from Welsh Taff. So we've got a few Porsches down who's going to be trying to make their way through the field, but it's not going to be easy for them to pass on the straight. They're going to have to do it in the corners, which of course is risky.
Of course, yeah, it's such a high-speed circuit. I mean, I've got no idea what the average speeds of the cars are going to be coming around here. But, there's Welsh Taff on the grass there, coming through Burnhamville into Malmedy, and that's, yeah, as we said on the comparison laps, that's one of the hardest sections to get right if you're in the Ford. You basically just try not to crash. But yeah, Welsh Taff making his debut on the Xbox now. We know him from the PS4 races. He's made massive improvements there. And coming through onto the Master Straight now is... Oh, Stuart Davis getting a wobble on there as he's chasing down Big Bad Wolf.
And then we'll see the power of the Ford, I reckon, breeze past the Big Bad Wolf's Porsche here.
Quite pop, yeah, there we go. Look at that. Seriously quick.
It's like DRS.
Yes, the excitement of modern Formula 1 shown there. And he's got it a bit wrong going through Master Kink. And is that Chris Doherty ahead? He's just reset his car. And Liam as well.
And they must have had it coming together, I think, coming out of the Master Kink. And now this is Big Bad Wolf. He's going past Unfixed Road. He must have had an incident too. And Stuart Davis is looking on the back of them. And he goes past the Porsche as he's hitting the rev limiter. Oh, and it's Unfixed off in the back. Oh, and there's contact. Oh, and he flips over as Big Bad Wolf facing the wrong way now in a very fast corner. And he hoped it didn't get collected. He nearly does there by Welsh Taff. And he gets past now by two other Porsches. Oh, and that's Chris coming together there with, who was that involved as well? Was it Baz Ninja?
No, it was Big Bad Wolf again, I think. Was it? Oh, no, sorry, it was Baz Ninja, yeah. But what do these Porsches do? It's the favourite car for... I mean, this is going to be their weakest circuit, and they're still on a par in terms of lap time with the Ferraris and the Fords. So they just need to keep it together, because in the coming races ahead at the Nordschleife and Le Mans, they are going to be clear favourites, so all they've got to do today is just keep it clean and just try to get to the end. That's that D-Man and Scuderia Sam there.
Yeah, D-Man just getting past Scuderia Sam there in the two left-hand corners. The Porsche is, of course, very strong, but he was close enough after the straight to have a go. And this is side-by-side now, Baz Ninja and who's that? Big Bad Wolf, is it?
Well, Baz Ninja... No, it's Welsh Taff.
Welsh Taff, sorry, yeah.
Baz obviously racing the... Oh, bounced off the wall in Blanchimont there as well. The Blanchimont bounce.
The Blanchimont bounce.
And Baz, yeah, you can recognise Baz. He's the only non-baby blue Porsche. And Welsh, you can't turn in when there's a... Oh, no. Such a shame. Welsh Taff he's doing well there, but yeah, you can't turn in to... There's not fresh air on the inside when there's a car there. But there we go.
Yeah, and the awkward thing is as well, of course, if you're in the Porsche and you don't know how the Ferrari and the Ford handle, then it's very easy to assume where they're going to brake and they'll have the same amount of grip as you. But it's not the case, is it? Because they're just wrestling the cars through there, the Ford and the Ferrari drivers. And if they run wide, it's not because they're trying to run people out of room, it's just because they haven't got the grip that the Porsche's got.
That's it, yeah. I mean, especially in the Ford, any little bump on the road and you find yourself going in a straight line, you hit a bump and it's all weebles wobble and you're trying to keep it going. So yeah, even a straight line, these Fords are pretty precarious. You see the nose dive in there as Unfixed Throne. He's hard on the brakes going into Lake Holm. Seeing if you can keep up with Baz the Ninja. This will be, if you can. Oh no, is that Big Bad Wolf in the background again, getting up to all sorts?
Big Bad Wolf is really trying to destroy his Porsche 908 Spider there, isn't he?
Yeah, they make them tough, these Porsches, don't they? But yeah, if this is the bit now, if Unfixed Throne can keep who's in front of him? Yeah, Baz the Ninja in front of him. He might just keep him in check through that section there. He might be able to get him back on the straight, but D-Man, unfortunately, he's the wrong side of Scuderia Sam on this section of the track. You need to be ahead in order to have any hope of repassing before the end of the lap.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we're going to see here Scuderia Sam stretch the Ferrari's legs a bit here on these straights over D-Man in third, but he needs to catch Alex because Alex is already 5 seconds up the road.
And D-Man's going to have to watch his mirrors now. He's got Liam right behind him as well.
Liam's not too far behind, is he?
No, he's had a good start, considering he was last on the grid, I think he was.
Oh, Scuderia Sam made a mistake looking the outside in the barrier. And that's allowed D-Man through. It's just what we were talking about in the comparison lap. If you get a bit wide there through that corner, and the camber change just drags you into that barrier, and you can't get away from it until it ends.
No, that's it. It's horrible feeling when you start running wide there. You just know it's coming. And what we haven't talked about is Alex CDL out front, of course, runner-up in the GT5 Championship, leading by 6.2 seconds. And
runner-up in the GT5 Championship.
Runner-up, yeah, sorry. Yeah. But Scuderia Sam bouncing off the barrier there, coming up the hill, so he should breeze past D-Man as Alex, and should breeze past D-Man now, and I wouldn't be surprised if Liam gets right on his tail as well before the end of this straight here.
Yeah, very possible, because that Ford's got a lot of straight line speed up that bit. It's where the Ford is strongest around this circuit, along that section there, up the hill on the straight. As the speed advantage comes into play, but Scuderia Sam's going to have a handful here trying to keep that Porsche behind. Look at the drive, he gets out of that corner, but he's just managed to do it, kicking up a bit of dust. And he's driving that Ferrari for every inch of the circuit, isn't he? And you see Liam there, he's pushing hard too, trying to catch.
That's it, and old Sam's covering off. D-Man should go to the inside into La Source. He is. Sam's running a little bit wide. He's left the door open. Oh, contact, but Sam managed to hold it. I'm surprised D-Man didn't make the move there, to be honest with you, and it is unfixed.
The Ferrari actually isn't that bad on the brakes. The Ford definitely struggles a little bit, although it's got higher top speed too, as Unfixed Throne clips the barrier there. But the Porsche certainly is the best on the brakes, with all the grip and downforce it has, those big rear wheels as well, as you can see. It's like a go-kart, isn't it? Like something from Mario Kart.
It is, yeah. But,
incredible car.
Is D-Man again. But yeah, the bottom of the Hollowell straight going into the long right-hander of Stavilo, by the Ford is going so much quicker. He's only 35 miles an hour faster than the Porsche. By the time they get on the brakes and actually get to a turning point, they're slowing down actually only to the top speed of the Porsche. So a lot of the time you're seeing the Ford braking very early, but a lot of the time it's just to scrub off that extra top speed. And sometimes it can catch the Porsche out if they're in the slipstream. But yeah, on the whole, it's been pretty good, especially through practice. The first couple of laps here, they have been a bit scruffy. We're on in lap 3 actually, it's a 3.5 minute lap, so. But yeah, practice has been alright, so yeah, the start's been a little bit scruffy, but I think they're starting to all settle down a little bit now. And is D-Man coming into this Porsche territory. He'll be right on the back of Scuderia Sam coming down the hill now.
Yeah, this will be almost impossible for the Ferrari to keep the Porsche behind through here. It's got to be so careful though. There's a Porsche driver, you've got to be so careful because you just pick the wrong moment to try and get past and you can easily get wiped out, can't you? So it's not all plain sailing for the Porsche drivers. If you are stuck behind someone, then you're going to have to be careful. And you can see there, Scuderia Sam trying to shake the slipstream a little bit of D-Man, but now this is where the Ferrari can stretch its legs.
I see, as he come through the Master Pink here, Jackie Stewart used to say, yeah, absolutely. He actually ended up in the cellar of one of these farmhouses. Trapped in his car, being covered in fuel, which is why he drove the rest of his career after that then with a spanner tied to a steering wheel so he could escape from any other incidents. And here's Stuart Davis coming through. We haven't seen much of him since the start. Through the Mastic. Oh, look at that Ford completely sideways through there.
Yeah, he's absolutely pushing to try and make up lost ground. Of course, he had those incidents at the start of the race, and he didn't manage to get a lap in qualifying either, because qualifying was absolutely treacherous, wasn't it? Just couldn't see where you're going. Completely foggy conditions, rain.
Yeah, seriously hard. And it's a real shame. He was looking pretty strong in practice. And there he is coming through Stavilo. Well, it's quite a nice, neat and tidy line. Liam's going slow.
Yeah, Liam's had a mistake, I think, through Stavilo. It was very easy to do that.
I think he's bodged it in the barriers there somewhere.
Yeah.
But, there's a go. Well, what you can do now, you can tuck in behind Stuart Davis and maybe a little bit like oval racing. You could almost possibly work together and use the slipstream to pull each other along and catch the top three. So what are they? 23 seconds behind the leader, 10 seconds behind D-Man, who's dropped 5 seconds behind Scuderia Sam. So Sam's really got the hammer down.
Yeah, he's made a second as well on Alex, so he's catching Alex too. So that Ferrari's looking good at this stage of the race, and he was saying he's struggling a bit on high fuel during practice, high fuel loads. So he doesn't seem to be struggling too much at the moment, no?
No, he doesn't. But
of course, no pit stops in this race, is there? It's just a race to the flag.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you've got to take the time screens with a little pinch of salt, just because in the middle part of the lap before the Porsche may well find itself 3 seconds further ahead than maybe it should be, and then if you've got a Ford in front of a Porsche, you might be a fair few seconds ahead coming up the hill into this section of the circuit. So it's going to be quite... Liam bouncing off the barrier there.
He's
That's
keeping
a
hold.
bit after launchment and that.
Yeah, he's keeping touch with Stuart here, though, isn't he? He flips the barrier a bit. He needs to stop cutting out those tiny little errors, and he'll be able to follow Stuart, I think, yeah, in their quest for catching D-Man in third. And who knows if there's a battle with the leaders as well. These Fords could come right back into play at the end of the race. It's a 45-minute race, so it's done by time rather than laps, of course. So it goes through Eau Rouge, absolutely incredible corner. Not so much these days modern F1 cars, but in these cars it's a real challenge.
It is, yeah, and I'll tell you what, just looking there now, Liam obviously made a mistake on his last lap. He did a 3:31 on the previous lap before that. Matching Scuderia Sam in second place, 2 seconds quicker than Alex, who's our race leader. But on the last lap, Stuart Davis did a 3:29.6, 4 seconds quicker than Alex. So it's 22 seconds off the lead. We're still looking at, we're only about, we're expecting to do about 13 laps. We're on lap 4 at the moment. So don't count Stuart Davis out of this race yet, and if you can drag Liam along as well, that would be fantastic. But looking further back now, you've got Baz, he's 5 seconds ahead of the Big Bad Wolf. Unfixed Throne, he's having a little bit of a lonely race. And Chris Doherty, he was looking quite strong in practice. I don't know where his pace has gone. And then you've got Welsh Taff wobbling about at the back on his own at the moment, just trying to keep it on the black stuff, I think.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting that a lot of the drivers have chosen to go with the Porsche. Of course, you have to have the DLC to go with the Porsche, and it does seem to be the easiest car to drive. It's kind of a ride and drive type of car, isn't it? You don't really need to get to know it as well as you need to get to know a Ford or Ferrari, where it's going to try and kill you at most corners. But all the grip that the Porsche has got. But a lot of the drivers have gone with the GT40, which is by no means an easy car to drive over the Ferrari.
I can only imagine they've looked at it and decided, it's got more horsepower, higher top speed. Certainly at this circuit, and to a certain degree Le Mans as well. Obviously we're not doing the vintage Le Mans race, it'll be the modern circuit with the chicanes and a lot more corners. So they might just be sort of thinking, we'll sack off the Nordschleife and hope that the Ford's okay in the corners at Le Mans and really take advantage of Spa. And as you can see, it's kind of happened, because the Porsches then all throughout the field, but none of them are really, apart from Alex and D-Man, none of them really challenging. We've got 3 non-Porsches in the top 5, which we weren't really expecting to see in possibly even any of these races.
Yeah, it's very true actually, and Liam's really keeping in touch here with Stuart. As you can see, they go up the hill now, where the Ford is able to stretch his legs and reach that 205 mile an hour maybe at the end of the straight, possibly, or a little bit under that maybe on this straight.
I think. Oh, there's D-Man. They're homing in on D-Man a treat there.
Yeah, D-Man's not going to have much to defend, I don't think, on these straights. The Porsche hits its rev limiter, and that's it really, isn't it? Can't really do much to defend against something that's coming at you at 200 mile an hour.
No, I mean, you can hear it after the Master King coming down the hill, down the Holloway straight. The Porsche is bouncing off that red. It sounds awful. It sounds awful. It looks weird. I mean, it's just odd, isn't it? An odd little Mario Kart car.
It's not even a car, is it? Let's be honest.
No,
and it's a Ford. It's just a Ford as well. So the only real car is the Ferrari. Let's be honest, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Having said that, the GT40 Mark IV, of course, both Ferrari and Ford, 1967, Le Mans competitors. So the Ferrari and Ford is a real life competitor, direct competitor at the time. And the Mark IV, was based on the Mark III, of course, which is the one that killed Ken Miles, if you've seen the movie Le Mans 66, or Ford v Ferrari as it's also called. That's the car he was driving when he got killed in 1966. So that car is an updated version of that one. And it beat the Ferraris in the 1967 Le Mans 24-hour race. But only one of the Fords came first there, so it was Ford first, and then it was Ferrari second and third that year. But the Ferraris did beat it at the Daytona 24-hour race, so they're very evenly matched to the Ford and Ferrari, but just in different ways. The Ford's just got a little bit more horsepower.
There's Liam in his Ford there. He's dropped 7 seconds behind Stuart Davis now, so I'm assuming he's made an error somewhere along his way. That's unfortunate. He was really clinging on well there. But so what you're saying there is the Ford beat Ferrari. So the Ford is actually the better car.
Yeah, the Ford won Le Mans 24-hour, got first ahead of 2 Ferraris, and then in the 1967 Daytona 24 hours, though, it was a Ferrari 123 in that race ahead of the Fords. So it depends on the track as well.
Yeah, that'd be true.
Because of course the Ford weighs 200 kilos more than the Ferrari, but it has got a 223 mile an hour top speed, which is about 20 mile an hour faster than the Ferrari, and an extra 50 or so brake horsepower. So it's a bit more of a brutal
Big
car.
Bad Wolf, that was brave. Is he going to hold it? I think he's done it.
That is one hell of an overtake from Big Bad Wolf. I mean, I had my heart in my mouth watching that, going around the outside there. That just shows the confidence that these drivers in the Porsche have. But that was incredible. I mean, Baz the Ninja is no slouch, and that was an incredible move from Big Bad Wolf.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd have attempted that one if he was trying to get past a Ford or a Ferrari, but either way, to go round the outside of Malmedy down onto the Master Straight, that is a seriously brave move, and well done, Wolf. That was brilliant.
But there are multiple lines you can take through there in the Porsche, isn't it? Because you can get away with a little bit more, whereas the Ford and Ferrari is very much just one line, try not to crash, get on the power early.
Yeah, that's it. And these cars, they are quite greedy when it comes to the amount of track that they need. There's Stuart Davis sideways there as they come up the hill towards Blanchimont, and really honed in on D-Man on this lap. And again, he's 3 seconds lap faster than the leaders. So, well, faster than Alex CDL. So he's absolutely hauling ass, you'd have to say, on the circuit at the moment. He's done D-Man already, but
He's hauling?
I don't know. But as they come now, this is where D-Man's going to gain a lot of time back, so it wouldn't surprise me if he's right on his rear as he's coming into La Source. Picking up a bit of dust there, but it's a strong.
Stuart Davis is certainly on a mission. He is catching the top 2 at quite a rate of knots. Next in his sights will be Scuderia Sam, assuming he can hold off, a bit wide there, assuming he can hold off D-Man, but D-Man's going to be looking for the inside at La Source, and he dives on the inside, and Stuart's seen him, I think, and they make slight contacts on the exit here, and the Porsche's got on the power a little bit earlier, so he's going to be ahead as they go into Eau Rouge, quite possibly, unless the Ford can come back, but it's a very risky place to try and make an overtake through Eau Rouge. 2 into 1 normally results in just 1 coming out.
Yeah, that's as we saw at the start. But yeah, that just shows there, the difference. The Porsche just got so strong on the brakes there going into La Source, whereas the Ford, you press the pedal there, the pads close on the baked bean tins that are the brake discs, and nothing really happens. So it's a good demonstration of the difference in performance between these cars at various points of the circuit. Look at that nose dive in there going into what's that, Lecombe there, and he's hit the wall. I don't know if that'll allow the Ford now. I think he's too far back on this occasion.
Quite possibly, but look, he's catching him as they go into the long right-hander now. But he's going to hold the inside, is D-Man. But look, Stuart's got him before the corner, but now D-Man's going to have the superior grip of the Porsche to try and get past, but he's going to have to try and really pick his moment here. And he's going to have to be very so careful, isn't he, not to tangle here.
Yeah, will he try Big Bad Wolf move around the outside? I don't think he will. So that Porsche is planted through there. Fair play.
Yeah, you can see the Ford is just hanging on, isn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to follow the Ford through there.
No, definitely not. And the Ford, it weighs nearly, over 400 kilos more than the Porsche. Incredibly.
That's a lot.
I know. But the Porsche is a 1971 car, and it wasn't built for Le Mans racing, was it? It was built for Can-Am. Oh, got a big wobble through there. Do you see that? That's brown trouser moment. But it was built for Can-Am, so they're not really direct competitors in the real world.
No, and I think it was for circuits like the Nordschleife that the Porsche was really made for. Whereas obviously the GT40 was pretty much a Le Mans racer, I think, off the top of my head. And
exactly.
On board through Stavro, and look at that, that's where you get pulled out towards that barrier. He's just about done it right through there.
Yeah, it's constantly on the verge of crashing.
And where's D-Man behind him? He's second behind him, so I think the Ford's going to be unchallenged now for the rest of this lap, and you can get on up the road. And yeah, Alex CDL out front now. He's still 3 seconds ahead of Scuderia Sam.
Yeah, that gap stabilised a bit now. It did come under 3 seconds, but of course different points at the circuit, it fluctuates a little bit. So we'll see. I think as soon as that Ferrari gets in a bit of a slipstream of the Porsche, I think Alex might be finding himself in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, and here's Chris Doherty. We haven't talked about him much. He was in last place a while back, but he's got to move on. He's now, well, he's not far behind Big Bad. Well, I say not far. He's 15 seconds back, but Baz the Ninja's dropped off. I'm assuming he's made a couple of errors somewhere along the road, because he was obviously up with Big Bad Wolf. He's now 22 seconds behind. So a bit of a shame for Baz there, but again, still we're coming up to half race distance now, so we're expecting about 13 laps or so. Here's Alex, our leader, sharing the number 1 Porsche livery with D-Man 221, so it's quite tricky to tell those two apart. And Scuderia Sam, he's closing in. He's just over 2 seconds behind now.
Yeah, let's see how this Ferrari handles through these next couple of corners. This is where the Ferrari's going to struggle a little bit on the downhill corner section. You can see there the Porsche flashing through on the inside. Ferrari really dips, doesn't it, as he gets on the brakes? You can see the whole car shifting its weight.
Yeah, it doesn't. It seems to ride the bumps a little bit better than the Ford, but it's a lot more stable, a lot stronger in the corners, I think.
Yeah, it's a sort of car which you can sort of manhandle it around the corners, but as soon as it bites you, that's it. You need to try and be a little bit. You need to try and be a little bit smooth. Treat it with a little bit of caution. A bit like poking a fire with a stick that's got a load of gasoline next to it.
I wouldn't recommend that.
No.
Or maybe a sleeping wife after you've annoyed her through the event, snored all night or something. I don't know.
Something along those lines. But he's going to be in a slipstream now. Look, he's about 3 seconds back. You're going to start getting the effect of the slipstream here, and of course with the superior top speed of the Ferrari as well. So don't be too surprised if that red machine creeps up into the back of the wing mirrors there, or wing mirror of the Porsche of Alex CDL. Of course, they've only got one wing mirror on the Porsche because it's a weird car.
Yeah, it's a silly idea. But it is mental, isn't it? Depending on different points of the circuit. You're looking at the gap to the lead. On a normal race circuit, normal cars, you'd be thinking, 3 seconds back. Not that exciting. But here, all of a sudden, you think, well, 3 seconds is now already 1.5 seconds. And the Porsche is going to gain a little bit of time through here. But as soon as the Ferrari gets on the power, a quick downshift, Flore coming on the exit there, up the hill, and he is going to be right on the back of that Porsche come the end of the lap.
I'm a bit biased as a Ferrari fan, but that Ferrari is definitely the best looking car.
Well, that's a matter of opinion. One thing that can be agreed, it's definitely better looking than the Porsche.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I'm not saying that, because everyone who's driving a Porsche, is its DLC. I'm not saying it's pay to win or anything like that. But
no, you still got to drive the Porsche properly. As you can see, the top 5 there are only 2 Porsches in the top 5, so it's not all to do with the Porsche. You have to drive it properly, and not make mistakes, and not get on those curbs, because the Porsche is sensitive to the curbs. But at the same time, it's certainly got more.
Out of the Jetsons.
It's what?
It looks like some out of the Jetsons coming up the hill there, like a spaceship, futuristic thing. I don't know, an idea of a future car from the 50s. I don't know.
The Jeffersons.
Jetsons. Yeah, Jetsons. Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard of them. I'm showing your age now, Stu.
It's a good show. Was a good show.
Yeah. I'll have to watch it sometime.
Yeah. Anyway, in all that, we missed Scuderia Sam leading for about 0.6 seconds before Alex repassed him.
Yeah, he did actually get into the lead for a moment there, and now Scuderia Sam's going to try and have a run down into Eau Rouge. Look, he's lining him up. I think before long we'll see that Ferrari.
That's the funny line down the straight, isn't it?
He's coming into the pits. What's happening here? He's coming into the pits. We haven't got pit stops in this race. The only thing I can think of is he's short fueled.
Well, obviously we're going for default setups, means you can't alter anything, and there's Stuart Davis coming through. You'll be thinking, thank you very much.
This is terrible news for Scuderia Sam, because he was looking very racy and looked like he might be able to grab the lead off Alex at some point in the near future. But look, he's still in the pit lane. He's still got his car up in the air now as D-Man comes through as well. So I think I'm hearing that the reason he's pitted is because of the strategy. The Ferrari strategists haven't put enough fuel in the car, and he's had to come in for more.
I think they must have hired the Formula 1 Ferrari team strategist.
Must have, yeah. That's terrible news. Of course, the drivers they can't alter their strategy. Well, they can alter their strategy on the fly, can't they? But they don't really decide how much fuel goes in at the start normally. So I don't know what's happened there. Must be a glitch in the game or something.
Quite possibly, and it might explain why he was able to lap as quick as he was. Because if you look at the comparison lap times that we did before the race. It was actually Alex CDL who was driving the Porsche. He set a 3-minute 28 lap time. His last lap was a 3:33, and he's only been hovering around the 3:31, so he's about 3 seconds slower than what we know he can do. Scuderia Sam was, within about a second maybe of his outright pace. So it's quite possible that maybe he was being flattered ever so slightly with that short fuel load, but either way, he's come out behind Liam, number 8 Ford GT, and well, Liam, we know, is a seriously tough fighter. After he won one of the previous races, he won the Indy 50 after a very aggressive defensive first place there, completely all fair, and yeah, well, always clipped the barrier. Oh no!
Oh, it's going to give a terrible run now onto the master straight, and the Ferrari now is in the slipstream, but he's not going to find it easy because that Ford is extremely fast in a straight line, even compared to the Ferrari. It's a quick car, but they're side by side now, look, and that's the Ferrari getting past the Ford. So we've seen Ferrari v Porsche, we've seen Ford v Porsche, now we've got Ferrari v Ford, and this is going to be an extremely interesting battle, and that Ford, look, is in the slipstream. That Liam is hunting him down as they go through the Master Kink. This is going to be a time of bravery through here. Oh no, yeah, Liam's got it all wrong, and he's lost a lot of time now, and he's got all sorts of bits of shenanigans hanging off his car. Shenanigans.
Yeah, if he could have just kept that tidy, he'd have been right in the slipstream, and he'd have got that move done on the Holloway straight then, no bother.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, he would have been through. But anyway, that's giving Scuderia Sam a chance now to break away and try and get back after D-Man. But he's 42 seconds off the lead at Scuderia Sam.
Yeah, I mean, it's by no means an easy corner, the Master Kink. I mean, it's old F1 drivers, so it's absolutely terrifying. And even in this race now, they're going through there. They can be exiting that corner at 175 miles an hour, threading it through between the two houses. So if you get it even just slightly wrong, and there is a horrible bump just as you turn in as well. If you clip that, it could really unsettle the car, especially the Fords, as Liam found there. But here's Stuart Davis, still the fastest man on the circuit. He's 3 seconds faster than Alex on that last lap again.
Yeah, he's only 12 seconds behind now. It didn't seem so long ago we were saying he was over 20 seconds behind. So he's going to catch him at some point, I think, and this is a fantastic recovery drive from Stuart here. You can only imagine that if he had got a qualifying lap in and hadn't been caught up in the subsequent incidents at the start, as a result of that, then he'd probably be leading this race at the moment with that sort of pace.
Yeah, you certainly think so, and he ran a little bit wide of the source there. He's obviously absolutely throwing caution to the wind now. He's got a 13-second gap back to D-Man, so in theory, even if he was to stick it in the wall and bin it, we have damage turned off, of course, he should be able to carry on no bother and resume as you were in terms of position. So yeah, it could be a case of just throw it out, hang, as the big bad wolf has said, give it the big spuds and just see what happens. Look at that sideways on the Kemmel, not straight there.
The Kemmel not straight, yeah, exactly. Big Bad Wolf now coming round the last corner, La Source. He gets out of there, and you can see Liam just up ahead in that black livery GT40, so he's hunting him down. So Liam, after having a battle with Scuderia Sam, he might be having a battle with the Big Bad Wolf, who's chasing him hard here.
Oh, who put that there?
Yeah, I mean, that wall certainly isn't there to help to help you get round the corner, is it?
I'm quite sure that was the same wall that's been there through every practice lap, every lap of this race. Out, just
I think
strange.
he must have forgotten about it.
Yeah, well, he's don't big bad walls normally they just blow walls down?
I know. Yeah, I was thinking. Very good.
Yeah.
Anyway, and Big Bad Wolf now. So he's away still. Oh, that was Welsh Taff going wide, but he just managed to hang on to the car there. But yeah, Big Bad Wolf's lost a lot of time now to Liam, so Liam will be breathing a sigh of relief. And if anything, he might start coming under attack from Chris Doherty now as the Wolf.
Possible, yeah. And here we are, Welsh Taff in 9th place on fixed throne.
I know this is a long race, but I didn't expect him to be hitting the wall this soon.
Where are we now? Yeah, Welsh Taff, he's 6 seconds ahead of unfixed throne, so yeah, an interesting little fight going on here. 6 seconds, nothing really on a 3.5 minute lap, so. And, oh, look at that, Stuart Davis on lap 8 as well. He gained another 6 seconds on Alex and 2 laps out the front. Alex will be looking at that timing screen now thinking, no. Especially
yeah, the
given
problem
their
for
history.
Alex is that he's just got to keep it clean now and just try and... He's lapping very consistently, isn't he? But he's got to try and keep it clean and not lose this much time to Stuart, because as soon as Stuart gets up near him, he's not going to be able to defend on the straights. There's just no chance for the Porsche to defend against the Ford on the straight.
I don't think so, no. And I'm just looking now, for reference, the next... where are we? 3:33 is the next lap time for the next Ford on the track. Oh no, sorry, we've got Liam as well. He did 3:30. I'm assuming he's had taken another chunk out of the wall somewhere on that one. But
an unfixed throne we were just looking at there. He's such a smooth driver, even these cars, which are absolute monstrous cars to handle, especially at a circuit like this, very high speed circuit. He's just so smooth still, isn't he? He's not exactly got the pace at the moment, but he's very smooth.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, he's in an exclusive fight with Welsh Taff, really, isn't he? So that'll be his main target. And Welsh Taff, we've seen in the PS4 races, he's prone to the odd error, but if unfixed throne, that's how he beat Stuart Davis at the last GT5 round. Just kept it clean while Stuart was busy outbraking himself and half spinning and generally making life difficult for himself.
Yeah, half the battle is just keeping it facing forward on the straight and narrow on the grey bits, isn't it? And
yeah, that's it.
It's
Stuart
the rest
Davis.
of it.
Ooh, no, that's going to annoy him.
Yeah, he's going to lose a little bit of time there because look, he was under 10 seconds behind, and now he's stretched it back up to over 11 seconds as Alex. So yeah, that could be crucial come the end of the race. Yeah,
he did 3:29.7 on the last lap as well.
He probably just shocked himself as he did the 3:29.7 and forgot to brake for Eau Rouge.
Yeah, well, quite possibly what he might have been doing was concentrating so much on not hitting that wall at the bottom of Eau Rouge that he hit the one at the top.
Yeah, you are playing chicken with that wall every single time you come through there in any of these cars, even in the Porsche, I think, as we saw from Big Bad Wolf. But you're just playing chicken with it every single corner, trying to clip it as close as you can so that it gives you the best possible line through the rest of Eau Rouge. Knowing that you're going to go light over the crest of the hill at the top as well, you need to try and keep that car as straight and narrow as possible so you can get on the power early and carry all the speed up the hill then. So yeah, you need to try and get as close to that wall as possible, and of course we've seen a few drivers just misjudging that slightly.
Yeah, and there's Liam and the Ford taking quite a tight line through LeComte there. 5th place would be a good. Yeah, if you can hold it in 5th place, that'd be a good return result for Liam. He hasn't really raced with us recently. Surprised he chose to jump into this race. It was a few comments were made by a few drivers about the level of difficulty of this class of car.
Yeah, they're not as easy to drive as the previous GT5 Ginettas that we've raced in the championship, are they? They're a completely different animal, these cars are. And each car as well has its own characteristics.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see, the spec series are great, but when you've got tracks with, lots of different types of corners on them and cars that handle differently. Oh, speaking of cars that handle differently.
Where's he coming from?
Yeah, he's Porsche Rallycross.
Porsche Rallycross, I think he's just been to Ireland and back over there, over that hill.
I'll bet you, thinking he was back in 7th place, I guarantee he thought when that happened, no one's going to spot that, I got away with that, no one will know.
Yeah, but the director there just cut to it in time, so good work from the director. and Chris will be like, "Oh no, they've seen it. They saw that. Damn." I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he was just going up to one of the fans or something and giving them a Porsche flag.
Maybe.
There's a lot of fans at the side of the circuit, virtual fans. But Chris Doherty, look at that, he's just hanging onto the car. Even the Porsche with all that grip is still running out a little bit wide through that corner sometimes. Which of course you don't want to do because you've got this massive long straight after it. But in terms of his battle now, he's a little bit on his own. He's got Baz and Ninja covered there in 8th place behind him. And he's got Big Bad Wolf, I think, is it, just up ahead. But yeah, he's a little bit far in front. So I think the real battle we're looking at now, I think, is Scuderia Sam, who's catching D-Man 221 at quite a speed of rate of knots. He's actually lapping faster than the leader as well as Scuderia Sam. It shows the sort of pace he's got. So it wasn't all just down to fuel load by the looks of it. That Ferrari does have some pace at this circuit, and you can see that battle now. And of course the battle for the lead too. Stuart Davis is still hanging on to Alex. He's still about 10 seconds behind though, so we'll see if he can close that gap down anymore. So I think those are the top two battles we're looking at now.
Yeah, I think you're right. Especially looking at that time, Scuderia Sam 3 seconds quicker than D-Man. Stuart Davis, he is actually lost a second to Alex on that last lap. So, oh, of course, yeah, that was his incident at Radion. But so yeah, he's Stuart Davis. That could prove quite costly come the final lap, couldn't it?
Possibly, yeah. If he gets anywhere near the slipstream, a second will make a big difference.
Yeah, you think, oh, he's lost a second, but actually, if he's lapping 3 seconds, that's a net loss of about 4 seconds he's done now. So he must have made another error somewhere.
Talking of being annoyed, this man here, Scuderia Sam, must be fuming too.
Yes, yeah. In fact, actually, if you look closely, his face is, yep, same colour as his car.
Yeah, and he's going to be wanting to prove a point and try and get at least on the podium in that sole Ferrari in this race. Look at Liam hugging the barrier there, and he's so brave with that car.
Yeah, sometimes a bit too brave, but again, 5th place is a good return to form for Liam. I'm sure he'll take that. Big Bad Wolf. Oh, look at that skill there, missing that wall.
Oh, fantastic skill. I mean, to miss a wall, you've got to be good.
Oh yeah, that's
and he is full of talent.
Back for that one.
Yeah. Well, we've seen Big Bad Wolf compete at the front in some of our races, haven't we? So he's got the pace. He does tend to make the odd mistake here and there, but he's certainly got the pace to win races, and he's got a very good car as well. So I think in the future races at the Le Mans track and also at Nürburgring, he's going to be a serious threat.
Yeah, I do think we should just remind everyone of that move he pulled on Baz Ninja through Malmedy. Because let's face it, at the end of this race, everyone's only really going to remember him hitting the wall at Eau Rouge. So
no,
he did do a cool thing.
We won't mention it at all.
No, never.
But you're right. That move was incredible. I had my heart in my mouth watching that.
Bet that tasted horrible. Right, so Scuderia Sam coming along the Master Straight, and where is he now? He's still 2 seconds quicker than D-Man. So this is going to be an interesting fight towards the end. There's not long left to run. For some reason on this type of screen, as you're watching the race back, it doesn't actually give you the exact amount of time left over, but as you said, we're expecting about 13 laps, so it's probably only about maybe a lap and a half to go. And Scuderia Sam, he's still matching Alex out the front with a 32-1 on the last lap, and you can see D-Man ahead of him there.
It's such a shame that he had to make that pit stop for fuel, because otherwise you could have been battling with Alex, and that could have brought Stuart Davis into play, and we could have ended up with a three-way battle for the lead.
Yes, yeah, I mean, we saw that in practice, and it's quite terrifying actually watching the 3 cars go 3 abreast down the straight at times. So here is Stuart Davis. He's got that gap down to 7 seconds now.
Yeah, about 7 seconds, and I think before long we're going to be seeing both of these cars in the same shot, and that's when, look, yes, you could just see the Porsche flash through in the background over there as they head up the hill. This is where the Ford, of course, makes up all of its time, really. Well, not all of it, but a large majority of it. And we're going to see the Porsche through La Source. Not quite this lap, but as you said, Stuart, we've got another lap or a couple of laps to go here, so it's all still to play for at the Spa-Francorchamps Classic Circuit. And the old pit straight is worth mentioning, of course. So Eau Rouge was turn 1, which is insane. Oh, can you imagine that?
Yeah, we saw it, didn't we? It was carnage.
Yeah.
And just looking at last, Stuart Davis a 3:29.8 to Alex's 3:34.1.
It's going to get tasty.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where Alex's pace has got though. It's not like he's going to be high on fuel anymore now.
That's a very strange one.
Maybe he's just driving conservatively up front, making sure he doesn't make mistakes. We saw some mistakes which arguably cost him the GT5 championship.
Mostly fighting this guy, actually.
Yeah, mostly fights to it. So he's the last person he's going to be wanting to fight for the lead of this race, especially knowing that the Porsche is going to have a slight edge in the next few races. This is the one he's going to be most vulnerable in. So it's very feasible that he's just controlling that lead a little bit and trying not to make the errors that we've seen sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, looking very steady there. As he goes round Burnhamville, he's into Malmedy. Yeah, he's not kicking the back end out. He's just keeping it neat and tidy. But again, he's going to need a good four. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have one more lap after this one. Are we? I'm not sure actually. Yeah, it should be alright. Well, look at that, completely hanging the back end out there. But yeah, Alex, you need about 4 seconds, and at this rate, you might not have that gap at the end of the final lap. So he's got to get a move on.
Yeah, definitely. But so I think as soon as he gets anywhere near that slipstream of the Porsche, he's going to be very, very close to the back of it indeed. And we might be in with a shout of seeing a Stuart Davis lunge. Mr. Lunge doing his stuff on Alex for the lead. You never know, it could happen. But look,
I don't know if you can lunge in the Ford though, really. It's, like I said, baked bean tins for brake discs. It's
you do have to book in an appointment, don't you, for brakes?
Yes, yeah, hopefully. Sometimes yeah, you miss that booking straight in the barriers. Although I think that is apart from maybe a dab, yeah, you got Les Combes and maybe a dap on the brakes going into Holloway and Stavelot at the bottom of the hill. Where are we at? Yeah, the bottom of the straight they're about to go onto now. Not really many braking areas on this circuit, which is obviously the Ford's main weakness. So, yeah, as we said, anyone who's not in a Porsche has really got to maximise the results. And I think Stuart Davis blew it in qualifying. The strategist blew it for Scuderia Sam. Yeah, Liam, he's doing okay. I think that 5th place is pretty safe for him now.
Yeah, I would have thought so. I don't think Big Wolf can quite capture him now with just a couple of laps left, but Scuderia Sam certainly going to want to prove a point here and try and pass D-Man 221, isn't he, for 3rd? And these two have found themselves in battles in the past too, stretching back to that 1.5 hour endurance race we had at Willow Springs when they were racing both in the GT3 or GTE category, one of them in the Ferrari, one of them in the McLaren, and it was Scuderia Sam who came out on top that time. So D-Man's going to want to prove a point, and of course they had that fantastic battle at Watkins Glen as well.
And earlier in this race too, don't forget.
And earlier in this race, yeah. So D-Man's going to be looking in his mirrors thinking, oh, there's another Ferrari, is there? What's going on here?
Yeah, of course, well, you'd have known Scuderia Sam would have pitted, but I think he'll be quite perturbed to see him right up behind him again, thinking, there we go, Sam's through.
Yeah, on the straight there, but
easy
this is where... What's that, sorry, Stuart?
Yeah, just easy as you like, just drove straight past there.
Exactly, but look, D-Man's going to come very close
back.
now.
Oh, the Blanchimont bounce.
The Blanchimont bounce has returned, but he's still managed to carry the momentum through, and I think maybe that was D-Man maybe just letting him through actually there, rather than maybe he thought maybe he nudged him out a little bit, possibly.
Possibly, he'll be looking to make a move down into La Source now, surely.
Who, Shirley?
Yes, a late one. Oh, they've tied up together.
Yeah, a little bit tied up there. Some of the physics of... they're sticking like glue to each other there. Some of the physics in Project Cars sometimes means if the cars touch like that, they do get drawn out of the track a little bit. But that's Scuderia Sam just holding off D-Man there, just about, as they go through Eau Rouge now. And this is where the Porsche could make a move on the outside, or the inside. He's going to switch back, I think. Is he? Oh, yes.
Got him. Fantastic.
The Ferrari got a twitch coming out of Eau Rouge. Scuderia Sam struggling to put the power down. But now look at the power. Ferrari's coming back again. And he's going to have the inside line. Oh, he's on the grass a little bit. Oh, this is very tense racing indeed. The D-Man manages to take that position, and he's held off Scuderia Sam for now.
That's it, yeah, he just needs to hold it now. Oh, it's number 7, not number 1. Sorry, earlier on I said he was sharing the number 1 livery with Alex, but no, it's number 7. And if he can, well, this is a good opportunity now. He's got a gap, Scuderia Sam. Use the next section, going down onto the master straight, build that gap, and hopefully he might be able to have enough of a gap by the time they get to the bottom of the hill at Stavelot. And thinking of a gap at the bottom of the hill, Stuart Davis, he is now 3.2 seconds behind Alex. He's reeling him in.
That's really come down, that gap.
Is that 3:29.4 on the previous lap? 4 seconds he got in.
He's by far the quickest car on the circuit right now, is Stuart Davis.
Look at that, there he is.
Yes, they're in the same shot, and Stuart Davis can see his rival now, his nemesis for the win. That's the only thing stopping him, and he needs to try and get in that slipstream as quick as he can. But look, this might very well be the last lap, Stuart. Possibly, I'm not quite sure, but we'll see. But he's going to have to get very close coming up the hill, and Alex will know that the Ford's going to be very strong in Sector 3, so he needs to maximise any corners now coming up.
Yeah, that's it. And of course, Stuart Davis, he will literally be throwing everything he's got at these next few corners just to... Well, he's not got nothing to lose behind him, is he? So there he is. He goes through this section there, completely hanging it out. It's close,
But
isn't
after
it?
leading from the start, I think Alex is not going to be an easy person to pass, is he? He's going to be very determined to keep that position.
Oh, definitely, yeah. There we are, 2.3, 2.2, 2.1, 2 seconds. I don't think he's going to do it. It's 1.8, 1.7. He's going to be too far back, isn't he, I think?
Yeah, if this is indeed the last lap, which it looks like it will be, I think he's going to be a little bit too far back to have a go, unless Alex makes a mistake. Yeah, you can see how close it is. Blanchimont bounce again. GT40, they build them strong, don't they? And I think we've seen every car go in there at some point. But yeah, it looks like now he's going to be too far behind to have a go into the source unless he absolutely sends it.
Oh, he was going there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That's it. Alex he's done it.
Yeah, he's gone around the last corner now and he accelerates towards the checkered flag. And Alex EDL in the Porsche at the weakest circuit for the Porsche is going to take the win. With some superb driving, and he fended off the Ferrari Scuderia Sam and Stuart Davis coming out in the latter stages, so a fantastic race there from Alex. Stuart Davis taking second, but look, the battle's still on for third. It's the last lap, and Scuderia Sam's going to have a look down the inside of D-Man, and he's got him on the straight, but D-Man's going to try and get him again through the next couple of corners. This is where the Porsche could be strong, but look, the Ferrari's still stretching its legs. It's going to be all to play for here in the last few corners.
I think so. And, just cut away to Liam there. And good drive from Liam.
Is D-Man back ahead of Scuderia Sam? On the timing screen there, he's momentarily got back ahead. And Scuderia Sam, I think, back in third now. So
yeah, there we are. They crossed the line now, and man, that was close, wasn't it?
Very close indeed. Yeah, fantastic battle between the two of them. And considering Scuderia Sam had to make that pit stop too, that's a very good recovery drive to get back to third. And because he was battling with Liam, who we were just looking at back then, he's going to finish in 5th place. Big Bad Wolf is being chased by Chris Doherty here, but I think Chris is a little bit too far behind, isn't he?
I think so, yeah. And here's Baz the Ninja. Unfortunately, after Big Bad Wolf got past him, he didn't really make any more headway there. And then Welsh Taff, he did beat Unfixed Throne by a few seconds at the end there, about 12 seconds. So yeah, good drive from Welsh Taff there, and Unfixed Throne as always, nice and clean.
Yeah, confirmation of the results. Fantastic race. It could have been closer at the front had it not been for some errors from other drivers, but not taking anything away from Alex. He did an absolutely fantastic race in that Porsche, and yeah, fantastic racing altogether, to be honest. I thought they were going to have more incidents in terms of, you know, how difficult these cars are to drive, but in fairness, some great racing going on. Some great car control
stuff.
And Stuart Davis easily with the fastest lap. That Ford had so much pace, and just to think if it had started near the front, who knows what would have happened. And there's of course the Teams Championship, just a little bit of fun there. Team Clash, is it? Alex and Stuart, a 1-2 for them. And that's the driver standings from today. So the Fords and Ferraris are going to have their work cut out now to beat Alex for the title, because the next two tracks are going to get harder and harder for them.
Yeah, definitely.
So join us next time where we go to Le Mans, the spiritual home of 24-hour racing.